Well, now I want to start the show, and our first segment is on HO scale modeling with Mainline Hobby Supply as our sponsor.
Mainline Hobby Supply is your one-stop store for model trains in G, O, S, HO, N and Z scales, including locomotives, rolling stock, track, train sets, and more to help build your model railroad. We are the largest model railroad shop in the area, and we carry a wide range of model railroad supplies across scales. Our friendly staff is always available to help with your modeling needs and to special order anything you may require. Mainline Hobby Supply is in southern Pennsylvania, halfway between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. We are only an hour away from Baltimore, and we are easy to get to from the 70, 81, 83, and 270 freeways. Plan to stop by on your next trip through Pennsylvania. Mainline Hobby Supply also has an online store that can cater to your modeling needs wherever you are located. With our large inventory, fixed shipping costs, friendly and knowledgeable service and prompt shipping, consider Mainline Hobby Supply for your next online order. Use the QR code to access our online store.
And we certainly do appreciate that sponsorship also. Well, the host for the HO scale modeling segment is Ed O'Roy, MMR. So Ed, welcome.
Thank you. I'll get right to it here. We were talking about, I added on to my former layout up in and created a place which I'm calling Plainville, Connecticut. This is a overview of it. And I wanted to add the station to it. The station was part of a junction. I was able to find some plans for it, which was helpful. So I scratch built it, following in the style of the original, but my track configuration was different, so I had to modify it a bit. As you can see here, has a full interior and the roof is removable, and did that because I figured I'd take it to a convention sometime and enter it in a contest, except I ended up gluing it to the layout, which is what happens to most of my structures, so that didn't happen. There you can see another view of it as I've done it here. Oops, nope, that's it there. On the platform, you can't see it here, but on the platform, I've got a young soldier with his mother and girlfriend heading off to Fort Devens and then Korea, because this is 1951 or 52, and that's what's going on. There's a group of them waiting for him on the platform down in New Haven. The water tower is scratch built in the style of the Farmington tank. New Haven had a lot of these with a wooden tank inside and a heating apparatus to keep the water from freezing. This one is out of service because the steam was discontinued on this line in 1948. I've since discovered, of course, that Plainville didn't have a tank. They had a water column by the track and fed it that way. But hey, it's my railroad, so I can do what I want. So I had, as I mentioned last week, there are two cuts through the backdrop here to get the trains from this area up to the upper level and back down to the lower level. And I need to camouflage those. It's always a challenge to do that. I've done it with a bridge a few times, but I'd already done that a couple of times, and I built a tunnel, which there wouldn't have been a tunnel up here. So I had to figure out another way to do it. The one on the left is a tourist home. You can kind of see the cut behind it there. Tourist homes were found all over Connecticut, and I assume a lot of other places too when I was growing up. I got the sign for it actually from the Smithsonian. I Googled tourist homes and came up with that and found the sign there. and they lasted well into the 60s. I know that the house next door to my barber in downtown was once a tourist home. They were sort of the forerunners of roadside motels, B&Bs, and now Airbnbs. People opened their house up. In this one, Ralph and Alice have arrived and are knocking at the door, waiting for the host to let them in. While the fellow lodger sort of ignores them, reading his New Haven Register. You can see him there. I camouflaged the cut in the back of it with some trees. My friend Bill Brown has a system where he makes trees out of the Scenic Express stuff that goes pretty quickly. So I built a bunch of trees and put them in, as you can see here. And they've turned out pretty well. And the line goes down the hill. In theory, this road runs up past the house, sort of behind it. It makes an abrupt turn and heads off towards New Britain. I imagine would be an interesting road to drive in the winter when it was icy and have to stop for that crossing if there was a train coming. The stone walls are from Chooch, the flexible stone that you can glue to the thing. I recommend that you not, if you do those, that you not rely entirely on the adhesive on them, especially if you've had them for a while and they've sort of curled up with age. The latest thing I've tried is I found that Woodland Scenics foam tack adhesive is very helpful for installing those. Made one more addition to the Plainville area, which I needed another little structure on the track to the station. So I came up with this thing. It was an Atlas small warehouse kit, which was actually produced by Fowler. And again, this was out of my father's stash and never built. The loading dock was kind of crude, so I rebuilt that and replaced it with a scratch-built one. I added bar mill shingles, some corrugated metal roofing on the covered area, and a bunch of junk around it. I added some ground cover. A friend of mine makes a lot of these piles of junk, and I go operate on his layout, and he sends me home with a few of them, which is always nice. Now it's time, once I'm done with that, it's time to clean up the workbench. I tend to be a messy builder, although I've gotten better at it. But when I use a tool or do something or work with something, I tend to just put it aside and not put it away, which is what I should do when I get done with a session. But I've gotten better at it. But this is what it looked like after I was done. And I'd actually already cleaned it up once as well. So just I've been talking about this layout, but that layout doesn't exist anymore. The last run on the old New Haven was March 27th, 2023. And after that, I tore it down because we were moving, boxed everything up, shipped it over to a new house. And the first run on the new Haven was April 7th, 2024. So just about a year later, I managed to get it up to a point where I can actually run a train back and forth, which I'm very happy with. And maybe once we do a little more of that, we'll get going on it a bit more.